And I'm super excited to introduce Paul to y'all guys. So, Paul actually lives up in northeast Iowa. He's got three kids: Emery, a 6 year old, and two twins, or a set of twins, Logan and Blake, 4 years old. Before coming to Family Heritage, Paul actually owned and operated his own veterinary clinic for over 14 years. Within a year, and just over a year, right in the first quarter of the next year, Paul made marketing director and then right immediately jumped straight to regional that very next quarter. He actually finished last year as the fourth agency builder in the entire company, y'all. He's also a back-to-back double I Dare You winner, and he's going for 3 years in a row right now. So everybody give a warm welcome to Mr. Paul Keller.
Hey, thank you.
How are you this morning, brother?
It's a little chillier than probably where you guys are at. -18 yesterday, -6 so far this morning. So
Sounds pretty good. Any snow up there in Iowa yet?
we got a bit. Yep.
A little bit? Yeah. Iowa's nice and flat. I got some family out in Iowa Falls, so not too far from where you're at.
Yeah. No, not at all.
Heck yeah. So Paul, tell me how what attracted you to start working with Family Heritage and leave a veterinary clinic after 14 years?
Sure. The real kind of catalyst that had me looking was we had a 1 year old and then we had surprise twins. So being on call 24/7 was not very conducive to you know three kids, one and under. And
Yeah.
my wife was actually the vet, and she really just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, and we wanted our kids to not live in daycare. So I went online and just kind of searched around for what was out there. I knew that you know I was going to have to find something that was going to have the potential to replace an established clinic for income. Um, I also knew that, after you've been your own boss, it's really hard to work for someone else. So it's probably going to have to be my own boss. And as you all know, sales is where you have the potential to make the most money. So it was going to have to be a sales position that I was my own boss and had flexibility to raise a young family. Um, Came across this, saw the career videos, seemed to check all the boxes, and took the leap of faith.
Heck yeah, sir. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's really important to be able to just go take the leap of faith and then create your own business, especially as fast as you've done it. One of the youngest market directors we had in the company, getting started in that first 2 years. And you've been with the company for how long now in totality?
Just hit my 3 year mark last month.
Heck yeah. That's freaking awesome, sir. That's awesome. Tell me a little about your team growing. Because as I look at it, that first year you became market director, you're already regional. You've sustained regional director for the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. And it looks like you're pushing to be an agency builder at this, or an agency owner at this point. Is that right?
That'd be right. Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. That's freaking awesome. Heck yeah. So when it comes to recruiting, how did you recruit your very first rec recruit that qualified?
Um, my first people were actually, ones that Justin or David uh, asked me to train, and I made it very obvious. I went to 101, and that was kind of the light bulb moment. Um, I remember getting hired. I had managed people for 14 years, and I really wanted nothing to do with leadership at all. I just wanted to take care of myself, and that's kind of what my focus was on. But when I went to 101, it was just kind of a light bulb moment. Like this is actually where it's at. This is how you make it in this business, and just be able to share, the experience. Um, so I actually texted David and Justin while I was still at 101 and just said, whatever opportunity, I don't care where it takes me. I will hop on a plane tomorrow and train wherever I need to train. And pretty pretty quickly thereafter, I got a couple of my own to train. Corey Hasley, who's with us, was my
Yeah.
trainee, and Bob out in Utah was my third trainee. So, I can't take credit for being awesome trainer. That's a lot to do with just luck of the draw and getting great people. But it definitely gave me fire and saw what it did for them and their family was the same that it did for me and my family. And there is nothing more satisfying than, I mean, I love sales. There's nothing better than getting that sale and getting back out to your car and having your own celebration. But it's a hell of a lot more fulfilling when you can have a team and you're rooting for them and you're seeing them celebrate and seeing them be able to change, their whole family's dynamic. So after those first couple, I kind of got the fire myself, started reaching out to, a couple people in my family, a couple of my cousins that were in sales, and trying to get them involved. Some of my friends and people that I reached out to, and obviously not all of them came over. I'm still dripping on some, but I did get a couple to come over, and yeah, it just makes things fun when you can work with your previous best friends or some of your new best friends.
That's really awesome, Paul. That's a really awesome way to start a business. Um, as far as your day-to-day schedule, especially as a regional director, you're in your car, it's 7 a.m. over there. So what does your day-to-day schedule look like from when y'all get up, especially with being a family man and a father and a husband, all the way up until you lay your head down at night? What does your day-to-day schedule really look like?
Yeah, something I'm always trying to work on. I am not one of those guys that's getting up at 4:30 in the morning to work out and then go to work. So I typically get up about 5:30 with kids jumping on my head and got to get them dressed, ready for the day to school. So I try to leave the house at between 7 and 8, somewhere in there. Make sure I'm on the morning call. But when that morning call's done, I'm already in my car in the field, ready to step out the door. Um, Now that is, something that you should never lose the foundation for, leading from the front and personal sales. Um, it's hard for, if you're telling someone to be doing that and you're not doing that yourself, it's it's uh it's not going to drive someone. So you got to be out there doing it yourself. As a regional director, it's a lot more meetings and a lot more sitting in an office than I would like. I just go stir crazy sitting inside. So uh, I am trying to avoid the office and supplement that with just working with people in the field. So trying to find the up and coming leaders, people that had a couple days where they haven't sold anything. And if it's within a drive, just seeing if we can meet in the middle somewhere and work together in the field. And that has worked really, really well. Um, and then, yeah, if there's Zoom calls or meetings that are just going to be unavoidable, there's no reason why it can't be done right here. And if it's recruiting calls, things like that, anything recruiting wise, I try to do that as much as possible outside of sales hours. So, I utilize time zones to my advantage, and I can do meetings at 9 p.m. here, and it's only 8 or 7 p.m. on the West Coast. So,
Heck yeah, that's super important. Being able to use that to your advantage. That's really smart. That's huge. And leading from the front is one of the biggest keys of any leader is being out there in the field. Even as a regional director, you're out in the field, meeting with your guys, running Zooms while you can, trying not to be in the office because you and I are probably not office people. It kind of sucks to be in the office.
yeah,
So we try to avoid that as much as we can. Um, so that's really amazing. But I'm really curious since you've been at Family Heritage for only 3 years, you're a regional director. How has this business that you've now molded changed you and your family's life? And more importantly, how has it changed those you've recruited and trained?
Sure. So for me and my family, like I said, we had a vet clinic. It was a thriving business, but that also meant, I mean, for years and years, that was our baby. So that was our life, and that became our life. So when life changed and we had new priorities with kids, um, being on call nonstop, getting phone calls at dinner time, all that kind of stuff, um, was just didn't make sense anymore. So the big change for my family is being present. Um, it's a rare day. If it's not a train more, it's a rare day that I'm not home between 5 and 5:30 for dinner. And that's just kind of hands-off time from the time I walk through the door, 5 to 5:30, have dinner with the kids, play, wrestle, do all that kind of fun stuff, get them ready for bed. They're usually asleep by 7:30. And then at that point in time, I turn on the business switch again and work between 7:30 to 9 or maybe 10. I mean, I don't sleep much, so usually I'm up till midnight. So the 9 to midnight may not be the most productive hours, but I can at least, say, oh, I was looking at business stuff. So um
Heck yeah.
yeah, for my family, it's just given me the opportunity to be there as a dad, to really open any door possible that my kids could ever want. Um, you know, I think my very first year, wife and I were laughing that we had already gone on more vacations funded by the business than we had taken in 14 years combined. So just having the ability to go and travel and have those experiences, and heck, my kids have been on more airplane rides and gone more places than I have at 4 and 6 than I had probably by 18. So um, you just can't put a price on giving your kids that kind of life. And obviously,
Absolutely.
I'm thinking legacy. So I would love for my kids to get in this business as well and be able to just pass the book to them, let them reservice those clients, and just give them a phenomenal opportunity as well. For the people that I've taken on, they've had a lot of similar stories. I mean, the people that you're looking at recruiting are people that are already successful. They're already just killing it in life, and there's usually just one thing that is missing, and oftentimes that's the same thing: time with family. And so, when I'm looking at Brian Scherf, he's one of my top leaders. He's been a teacher for, I think, 20 years. He was a band director, so he was tired of raising other people's kids and always being gone at dinner time because he had band or a football game or something to be at. Um, Corey Hasley, same thing. He's in the car business, finance. They're always working the weekends and the evenings. They're never around. And so just kind of seeing how it gave them the same flexibility, the same, abilities to go on vacations and really just live their best life.
That's huge. That's huge. Being able to expand that and really drive that home for even those that have owned a business and or have done very well, giving them that opportunity is priceless. Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. So Paul, now that you're 3 years in the business and the regional director, looking at an agency owner position and really striving, I know that's your next goal and your next step in your career. What are you focusing on right now to that goal that you've made, to meet that goal and exceed it? What are you focusing on right now?
Um, Obviously, overall NAP is something to always be looking at. I mean, that's just an easy benchmark of where you're sitting. Um, but I think overall the main goal is always going to be net key players, which is people that see this as an actual career. They're not treating it as a hobby. And those are just people that are consistently out in the field. They don't have to be the top producer. Um, but by nature, if you can get someone to just have consistency, consistently get out in the field and sell, they're going to do better and better and better because they're going to be perfecting their craft if they're getting out there each and every single day, being consistent. So, people that have slower starts, heck, I had a super slow start. Um, as long as they're getting out there, they're going to get better. And that's just the focus is getting that 1% better each night and helping them get to that point. But the main kind of benchmark that I look for in building an agency and being agency owner is that net key players. Year over year or quarter over quarter, having those people that are just you can just bank on being there for the entire career. And good benchmarks to look for is how many people are going on the incentive trips. Did you have 5 last year and now you have 10? You're probably going the right direction.
Heck yeah. That's huge. That's huge. Um, so last thing I want to ask before I turn it over to the team for any broad questions or anything I might have missed is kind of a twofold question. You've been here for 3 years. You've got a regional director. You've really expanded your business in a very short amount of time, which anybody has the ability to do if they do it the right way. What would you say to recommend or motivate somebody to build their agency themselves when they are first getting started? Let's say an agent within the first 4 months. And what would you say to those that are struggling now to build a business like that and may have been here for more than 2 years?
Sure. Um, this business is a phenomenal opportunity where if you've been struggling, you can turn it around the very next day. Hell, you can turn around the very next door. Every door is a new opportunity. So if you botched it at the last, you walked 5 feet over, they have no idea that you just botched it over there. So every door is an opportunity. Um, for someone that's new, you know, if you're not coming out of the gates running, don't give up. Uh, Not as many people know this anymore, but when I started, I started out slow. The only way I made quick start is some pity buys from my parents and family. So I literally spent probably my first 3 months sitting in random parking lots in my car. Some days I didn't even get out. I was terrified to get out of my car. So, that was my first 3 months. And I did a lot of soul searching in that time. But realized, looking at Voxer and seeing people just killing it. And I'm like, what in the hell are they doing that I'm not? And it hit me. They're getting out of their car. So, yeah, I realized that, there's 1,000 ways of saying no, but at the end of the day, it's just no. And that's really the worst that can happen. So the sooner that you can get those no's under your belt, the sooner you're going to start hearing yes. And so I'd say, for anybody, doesn't matter what stage of the career you're at, if you're thinking about agency building or building a team, you have to lead from the front. You have to be able to get out there and write business consistently so that if you're going out there, you're going to be writing business that day because you have to lead from example. They have to see that it is possible. So just like there's a sales cycle, there's a agency building cycle and a training cycle. You got to be able to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. That way you can actually train those people and show them this is how you get out there. This is how you consistently sell. They're going to be looking at your numbers when they're starting out to see what you're doing. And if you're not going to work, they're probably not either. And then, yeah, after that, it's just a numbers game, just like selling. It's training those people. It's I kind of have a rule. I'm going to invest in you as much as you're investing in yourself. So if you're only putting forth 10%, I'm going to give you 10%. If you're giving it your all, I am there. You give me a call, I'm going to be calling you right back. And so, yeah, it's just doing that with enough people. And it's just naturally, it's going to be an organic thing. It always feels like it's starting out real slow, but it snowballs pretty quickly if you're focusing on the right things. Um, and for those that have been in it for quite some time, it's really just probably just a matter of consistency and making sure that that's what you want to do, and talk with your leaders, telling them that's what you want to do, and flip on that on switch, start, because you can do it pretty quick.
Heck yeah, that's freaking awesome. Thank you so much, Paul. I'm gonna open up the floor to anybody that wants to ask questions. We got about 7 minutes before I'm gonna let Paul go and let him get back to the house so he can say goodbye to his kids in the morning and get ready for the next call and get back and rolling. And that way we can get out in the field here on the East Coast. So I'm opening the floor to anybody that has any questions for Paul.
Paul, I have a question. Good morning. Thank you. So obviously you've been here for right at 3 years. You're already a regional director. So you have me and Casey who are up for regional director. Josiah, we got quite a few MDs that are going for regional directors. What would you give? What is your best advice that you could give one of us? Because obviously in the field, recruiting, interviews, that's a lot of work. It's hard. What would you like if what advice would you give us that you wish you'd have had when you were going for those next levels?
Sure. Schedule is huge. It's very, very difficult to juggle all three balls and be great at all of them. So just maintaining a consistent schedule and sticking to it is probably some of the best advice I can give, because I'm sure you guys are starting to experience it. If you're in a enrollment for the entire day, you get back out to your car and you got 60 missed text messages and 20 missed phone calls. And so you have to have a lot of time for, this is the box I'm in right now. Then I'm going to move over to my recruiting box at this time to this time, and just maintaining that schedule. Otherwise, you're just going to get thrown around all day long, putting out fires rather than preventing them.
Yeah, excellent question, Randy. Anybody else got anything for Paul?
Paul, good morning, sir. Josiah Clark, thank you so much for your time this morning, first and foremost. Yeah, so I think 2023, it was, don't quote me on the numbers, but I think it was like 1.8 for you and then jumped up to 4.8. So usually when you see that amount of growth in a single year, which is incredible, it comes to a decision being made, right? Something that you just said, this is what we're doing, and you put your head down and went to work. For you, what was that decision that just caused, you to blow the doors off with growth last year?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's exponential. If you can cast a vision to your team, um, focus on not only what is speaking to you and the overall team vision, but how do their personal visions incorporate into that? Because if you can find each person's why and get them to focus on that throughout the day, I tell people, keep it in your car. Have that, the vision in your car, or whatever is speaking to you. For me, the VPF was crucial. I would not have made MD when I did had I not had a VPF sitting right side next to me when I was having a slow day, telling me this is why I'm doing this. This is where I'm tracking. It also kept me on the field on really good days when I killed it, by noon. I'm just going to keep working towards the overall main goal. I'm not going to go golfing for the day, So yeah, did I answer the question? Kind of lost track of the question.
Yes, sir.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
Oh, vision. Love it.
Oh yeah. 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 Just maintaining an overall vision and helping others kind of cast their own vision and keep them focused on, what it is that they're working for. And, as long as their vision is feeding into the overall pie, that's just going to drive them more than anything. It's going to drive them a heck of a lot more than your vision.
Roger. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul, it's Van Davenport. I hope you're doing well, man. I got a quick question for you. Everybody knows good people, right? We're good people. So do people tend to know other good people that could do well at this? It's just a matter of getting out of our head and talking to them. I was curious, of your net key players that you have on your current roster, how many of them were warm market, friends, family, people that you met in the field, that kind of thing? And I guess, what are you saying to people to get the ball rolling with recruiting?
Sure. I think the big thing with recruiting is not making it all, butterflies and rainbows. It's not. So being very clear with people that, it is hard work, but it also has a hell of a lot of opportunity and potential. And so for a lot of people, it's almost like a negative sell. Especially if you're talking to high earners, very driven people, the one thing they don't like hearing is, I don't know if you can do this. because if it's like any of us, it's a challenge accepted. Let me show you what I can do. So the negative sell when it comes to recruiting is it's big, because if you're just telling someone how great everything is, they're going to be kind of skeptical because they're hearing that from everywhere else. But the product speaks for itself. The opportunities speak for themselves. Showing people real life numbers of, this is what, this is just last week, and just showing them what people did, showing them that's the possibility, showing them examples of people in their first 3 months and what they've done. So just showing them that, this is on a weekly basis. We're doing amazing things. It's not just showing them, hey, these are our top 5 people, and acting like that's the norm. And I think people can kind of see through that when they are getting hit up by 20 other insurance companies trying to recruit them. They do see the authenticity of what we have.
That's huge, Van. That was a big one. I love that one a lot. Thank you, Van, for asking that. Y'all, it's 8:30. I'd like to get Paul off of here. Paul, thank you so much for coming in clutch and being able to be on with us this morning. And I can't wait to see you at mid-year. Give you a big old hug and see the family again, and see you up on the big stage getting that double I dare you jacket again.
Heck yeah.
For the 3rd year in a row. Heck yeah, sir. I'm working on mine too. So, y'all, thank you all so much for being on this morning. It's just Wednesday. It's just getting started. Let's go out there and be a blessing to somebody, and more so, be a blessing to somebody to have them come join us on this as well. Thank you, Paul. Thank y'all so much for being on. Y'all have a beautiful week.
Paul, thanks, buddy.
Thanks, Paul.